Yo, what's good, everybody? Hope you guys are ready to witness the most unhinged podcast of your life. I'm here with Mikey Sawyer of Misfortune,
What's up, you guys?
and I hear you guys are dropping your new single "Unscathed" coming up soon.
Yep, here this week, April 18th, Unscathed, baby.
Hell
It's
yeah,
dropping.
hell yeah! Get a little, give the listeners a little context as to what the song's about. Like, what were you thinking? What direction you guys going with the band?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started co-writing with Tom Denny, who was the ex-guitar player every day to remember, and he's a brilliant writer. He's worked with Secrets, Pierce the Veil, Issues, the list goes on and on. And so I thought it would be cool to basically collab with him and have him as like a feature or like a producer. And so he sent me some tracks, some instrumentals, and I really liked them. So I decided to come here to this studio, Side 3, where I just got done recording vocals and just tracked some new stuff that you've heard. And just really excited for that. And then I send the vocals back to Tom. He gets it all mixed and mastered, and that's how you get Unscathed. And so basically, the point of this song is it's like an anthem of like resilience and defiance and just coming back from shit that people try to throw at you and just being true to yourself and just saying fuck it, fuck them all.
Hell yeah! Let's take it back to the beginning. So Misfortune started off as like an internet project,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
out
that's
in
what
Oklahoma.
everybody used to call us, is an internet band. So that was our reputation for a long time. But yeah, I started in Oklahoma doing music, and then we had some members out in Florida and Phoenix and California and Pittsburgh, and so we formed an internet group over Facebook. Literally,
Facebook has brought a lot of our favorite bands together, I would
yeah,
assume. It's crazy. MySpace, Facebook.
yeah, and like I literally found this band by YouTubing, guitar covers and just finding the most talented people that I could to form an internet band. And then we got noticed by Sumerian Records, and then they kind of put us in the same room, and that's whenever we started making actual music together. But then over the years, it's kind of reverted back to the remote process. You know how it is, sending demos and stems around.
Yeah.
So we love it. I mean, I love it. I love working like that, and I feel like I can pride myself on almost turning around any kind of song or instrumental that someone sends me, and I've collaborated with a lot of producers. And Tom Denny is the latest one, and he's just fucking amazing at what he does. And he kind of helps bands get over that hump where they're like really about to break through. So
It's
I'm
exciting.
excited. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Any plans for like any music videos, like any rollout for this upcoming release? Like what do you guys got going on with that?
Yeah, so I'm just basically shooting a bunch of mini content and stuff right now. And then I'm collaborating with the Work of Jar on a music video that I won't give too much away right now, but you guys will all see it soon. But yeah, we're going to try to break some new ground with our visuals this time.
Hell yeah, that's super
Yeah,
exciting. Super
yeah.
exciting.
And then, me and you are going to be shooting some content the next couple days here in Denver. By the way, shout out to Brandon. He came all the way from California, and we're going to be filming stuff. So, pretty stoked.
Yeah. I think one thing a lot of people have been kind of curious about is like recently I've noticed there's been like a quite a few lineup changes. Like any tea
Yeah.
on that? Like
Well, the tea is hot, of course. But ever since 2014, whenever we kind of had this whole dust up with Sumerian and this whole debacle and whatnot, the original lineup kind of parted ways, ended as it was. And then I was basically told by someone I was working with in management at that time that the band doesn't necessarily revolve around any one person or anything, but like your vocals are kind of the focal point. And so you need to just focus on making songs that showcase your abilities the best and that you can be the center, the middle, the lead of. And so I kind of just ran with that ever since. And I kind of got away from the first sound that we did because the lineups just shifted.
yeah, different musicians gonna be different sound, but
Yeah.
I feel like your vocals still tie like everything together
Yeah.
relatively well.
Yeah. And over the years, I've learned to just straighten things out and make it more musical and make it more wide, but yet the vocals are the shining star of every,
Yeah, I
the
think it was
North
your
Star.
guys' self-titled album. You guys did that with Andrew Wade, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that album sounds huge. Like very
Yeah.
I love the instrumentals on that album.
Yeah.
And I think the vocals kind of best stuff I've, in my personal opinion, that you guys have done since the first album, A Spark to Believe. Like, I
Thank you,
feel like
man.
your vocals really got pushed on that album.
Yeah, that means a lot. Andrew was absolutely brilliant, and he brought so much to that
He's a
album.
genius.
Yeah. And like I was just telling the story the other day how I had to rewrite probably 50% of my vocals when I got there. But then about halfway through the process, I feel like Andrew started to understand my philosophy, which is just about sounding great and just
Yeah.
about
Serving the song type.
Ye- yeah, like it doesn't always make sense or have like a grandiose message or theme or like that you can really pin down and dig beneath the skin. But like if it sounds good, it sounds good. And I think we got to that point at somewhere in the record, but he helped me rewrite my lyrics and make stuff make more sense so that it translates to the average listener, and I'll always thank him for that. I take Andrew's advice with me everywhere I go, every booth I'm in. And I love that album too. Even though I was struggling with my vocals a lot down in Florida, the allergies.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why the mix is really dark, but I love it. It serves the time of COVID, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was a vibe.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
I remember I drove through Oklahoma when
Yeah.
I was going back from to the East
That's-
Coast from the West Coast. I stopped by. That was like right when you guys were about to drop that too.
that's how we met. Well, actually, we met in the Chango Forum.
Yeah, shout out Chango for
Shout out Chango. But yeah, no, that's cool. Oh, I feel like Chango's a big unspoken part of the Misfortune lore too.
Yeah,
Because
for
like
sure.
really, like we kind of found our sound through the grapevine of
different musicians through there. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like working with Cameron, probably like
Yep.
other producers you've met through that forum. I feel like that forum's been like huge for like metalcore scene in general.
yeah.
Like I feel
Cameron
like
literally taught me how to sing.
yeah.
Really, because the first album I was just throwing shit at the wall and just belting out and hoping for the best, and Chris Crummett made it work. Cameron taught me how to smooth it out and how to make it melodic and how to tie the compositions together and how to give it the backing vocals and the ad libs and the stuff that makes it a shiny, polished production.
Hell yeah.
But now people hate on it because they're like, "Oh, you don't sound like a Spark to Believe. It's not so
Yeah.
raw and angry."
I
But
feel like it's just got like, to me it's like the vocals just don't have that same rasp, but it's
Yeah.
also good like in its own regard, because I can definitely like see the vocals more polished, like more
Yeah.
refined, like on the newer stuff. I feel like at
Yeah.
that point it's just kind of like a taste thing. Like some people like more polished like music, some people like that more like raw, like more live sounding like grit. Like I feel like that A
Yeah.
Spark to Believe had.
yeah, and on the second one, How the Story Ends, I tried to bring that Panic at the Disco kind of sound, and I still pushed the grit a lot, but I just feel like somewhere along the line, I actually learned how to sing. Like I
Yeah.
found dynamic control and melodic, stuff that it doesn't sound like a Spark to Believe because I'm not the same 19-year-old kid that was just screaming at the top of my lungs trying
Yeah.
to sound like Johnny Craig. Exactly.
Yeah.
And also another thing Cameron Mizell taught me was how to sound like myself. Like you can really hear it starting with Die For You. That's whenever the first single we put out that like sounded like me, sounding like me.
Yeah.
So I've also tried to like follow that ever since, even if it's not a callback or nostalgic for the fans.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, it's not a secret that you're a pretty polarizing musician in this scene. Like
That's fair.
you don't always get the best reactions from people from
Yeah.
time to time.
Yeah.
How does that kind of like affect how you run things? Like does it keep motivating you to kind of like prove people wrong, kind of just
Yeah.
like got a chip on your shoulder, like have things to prove, or like you
Yeah.
kind of just like fuck them, just do what you're going to do regardless and let them talk type vibe?
Yeah, so a lot of that stuff I used to really egg on, and I kind of set myself up to fail with some of it, honestly. And especially when that whole uproar happened with Sumerian and
Yeah.
whatnot, it kind of was on me because I painted myself as someone who was capable of doing something like that. And then the internet ran with it, and they just been running with it ever since. And they've tried every angle to like,
Yeah.
and it's like, dude, come on, like. They've accused me of every sin, and yet none of it sticks.
The internet's a weird place because there's like certain situations I see people speak about, like,
Yeah.
and even just involving like other people that I know would actually happen. Like I'll physically be there,
Yeah.
and then you'll see a narrative online that everyone's running with, and it's
Yeah.
just like that's not even what happened.
Yeah. And a lot of it, shout out to my hometown, Oklahoma. But like I'm telling you, dude, like if you follow back the drama, like 90% of it goes back to Oklahoma and just people that
And it's hard on the internet
yeah.
because like if people get like one picture painted of you in their minds, like they're just always going to like assume that's who
Yeah.
you are, even if that information's like accurate.
Yeah.
Like so like once there's like one narrative kind of set, I feel like it's kind of hard to break it, to be honest. Even if it's like I feel like a lot of people take what they see on the internet and like take it as like factuality without even like knowing what's going on like
Yeah.
in real life. Like
Well, what gets me, and depending on which narrative you're talking about, like what gets me is when I see the blatant lying, when people like that I've never met me in their life are just like, oh, I heard this. And so they just play the telephone game and reframe
yeah,
it.
it's like that thing you probably hear in middle school about Marilyn Manson removing a rib or some shit. Like,
Yeah. But it's like by the time it gets through the telephone game, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you saying that? I'm playing with my name and my reputation like that. They're like, oh, I just heard it and thought it was funny. And it's just like, oh, so you just thought it was funny to just ruin someone's like reputation or whatever.
yeah.
But I can't blame that on everyone. Like I've definitely done my, fair share of stirring the shit of cane.
Yeah.
And I love that. I mean, like I really do. Like since Sumerian utterly trashed our reputation and our career, it's like I really have nothing to lose. It sounds horrible. But like there's nothing to not gain from just going all the way the other way with it. And I think that that's just something people have never seen before. So I want to give them that. And I just, I don't know. Like, it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of record labels, Sumerian and stuff, you guys shopping any labels? You guys,
Yeah.
what do you guys got
I
going
would say
on?
that we've like at least reached out to like every label for the most part. I've had relationships or first name basis with most of them.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's at a time right now where the industry is kind of stagnating. And like, unless you have 250,000 followers on TikTok, they're not even going to look twice at you, let alone provide a budget for you. And so we're just getting to the point now where we have our own.
I feel like a lot of people are just kind of better off independent right now.
Yeah. Like I had a manager, a very prominent manager in the scene, tell me that for the integrity of the band and your brand, stick it out independent. Yeah. Do it. Fuck it. Ride it till the wheels fall off. So my mentality has always been to try to make Misfortune a brand and a platform because they can never take that away.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah.
Hell yeah. This will be studio album number 6.
I don't know about albums. You think people want to hear albums anymore?
True. Yeah.
Do
I
they?
feel like people want to hear them, but I feel like a lot of times it just like money financial wise it just doesn't play out in the artist's favor sometimes.
Big time. And like
especially for artists that like aren't like at their like peak, I feel, because you got to put all that budget in, and then like I feel like recouping is just
also the game and everyone is chasing a single. If you're going to put out an album, you need to have a single or 2 singles, or like have the push and the fire behind a single. And so honestly, with these new songs that I wrote with Tom, they're just like so good that to package them up or to try to even release 2 songs at once or do anything just doesn't do it right. So each song is basically its own fucking movie. Like it needs its own whole marketing. Like basically each single we're dropping right now is its own album, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
But like it's like a full on production, like Quentin Tarantino level single. So that's what we want.
So you've been in the game for a while. I feel like you got some tea in the scene. Anything interesting lately? You got some?
Yeah. I mean, well, of course.
Maybe even dating back to the Warped Tour days.
Well, I've been starting like to start up a stream and like potentially a new podcast. Like we're kind of testing this out today to see how this feels, but like I would love to start a new podcast where I'm able to like actually talk about topics in the scene and actually give my honest, unfiltered, raw opinion, because that's something that I feel is lacking in a lot of the media personalities and blog sites, is like everyone wants to frame shit through like fake positivity, and I'm just
Yeah.
not on that. Like if I think like an Asking Alexandria song sucks, I'm gonna say that, and not that they do because they're fucking amazing.
Yeah, just an example,
But like,
I feel like the industry is full of yes men sometimes.
oh
too.
yeah. No, I've got emails from our old label executives being like, "Why the fuck did you say this about Asking Alexandria?" I'm like, dude, I was just kidding.
Yeah.
Like, I can't post my opinion. I can't say my real opinion. And it's like, no, because the rock community, the metal community is all about building people up and promoting positivity and whatever. So if you have someone that's critiquing or being negative about it, or
It's kind of frowned upon.
exactly,
I've seen some people who haven't even posted like that harsh of opinions or something, and they're
Yeah.
just getting ripped to shreds just because of who they're talking about. It's like crazy.
I
Can't criticize anyone. It's like I'm personally like a Spirit Box fan, but it's like I
Yeah.
see people online like they'll barely like criticize them, and then like comment section flooded full of just like, no, this band's amazing. Like you don't know what you're talking about. Like fuck you. Like all this.
It's
other
true.
Shit.
It's very true.
Yeah, so you definitely got some beefs out here, kind of left and right. You got Johnny Craig, Julian from Loveless, Jared Dines. Like,
No, it's Jared Alonge.
oh, Jared Alonge, yeah.
Jared Dines is the funny one.
Oh yeah,
He's
that's
the
true.
good Jared.
I forgot that was.
Yeah.
Jared.
But yeah, no, that's cool. Your idols become your rivals.
He put you on a T-shirt, bro.
Who?
Oh,
that's-
that was low key kind of funny though.
That was my first time going viral on TikTok.
That's
Like,
crazy.
extremely viral.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out Jared.
Shout out Jared. We got to go look at his numbers, see how they're lining up.
I know.
But yeah, Johnny, you know, what can I say? Johnny's like my idol, right? He's like my biggest inspiration going back 10, 12, 14 years. But there was a point where that kind of changed, and I just kind of, like I said earlier, went on my own kind of sound and shit. But like, yeah, me and Johnny are actually in a better place than ever before. Like, we're not like best friends or anything, but it's like the beef is done. with
Yeah.
that. And then who else did you say? Julian. Julian is a fan. Like, period. Like, Julian can't talk to me.
Damn.
So, next question.
Next question. Who really inspires you to keep like this whole thing going? Like I know like the band's been what, like 12 years going now?
Yeah.
Like that's a long time for like I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of metalcore bands, post-hardcore bands, I feel like do not last that long. What's
No.
really been like what keeps you like the wheels moving on this train?
Yeah. So, the appetite, it just keeps growing. After A Spark to Believe, I thought we were going to be done. And then I had actually ended the band and said that I was like, you know, moving on with life. And then that lasted a whole like 2 months. My mental health took a horrible dive, and I basically had to get back to it. And so that's how you got How the Story Ends. We had a bunch of collaborators and ghostwriters basically send us tracks, and then I just layered my vocals over that, and we sent it back, got them mixed, and that's why it's kind of got this like mixtape uneven vibe. But like you can hear it, you can hear like the rock bottomness to
Yeah.
that, and I fucking love it. Like Delusions of Grandeur, like that album has aged so well for that being like our, I don't want to call it a cop out, but it was just like a last, like if this is our last album, here it goes.
Yeah. How did that album come to be? Like was that like
Yeah.
another Chango Studios like kind of getting some collabs like how did
Yeah. That started off with Die For You in the bottom, just 2 singles.
Yeah.
And
Fire.
then- yeah, those are good. And then like I called it quits for a while. We stepped away. And then I basically teamed up with James, who was my engineer in Oklahoma, and I lived with him. We were roommates, so we could basically cut a song any hour of the day or night. And so people would send us new tracks, and we basically just recorded, I think it's a 9-track album. So we recorded 7 more songs, boxed them up. The mixing and mastering is all over the place. It is not a cohesive album. It's a
Yeah.
mixtape for all intents and purposes. But then that did well, and it got a bunch of streams. And so we got the resources and the income to then go make another album. So we got to level up, and that's how you got self-titled, Andrew Wade.
Hell yeah.
We went to Florida, did that. Then we did another little one-off deal for the Cruel Summer EP, which turned into an album. Like, fun fact, we tried to make an EP like 3 times, and it never
Just
works out.
always turns out being in an album.
Yeah. Yep.
Does that kind of have to do with like kind of how the writing process goes? Because like I know like whenever I've written like EPs or stuff, I usually write like 10, 12 songs and then condense it, and then those just kind of be like you ended up just keeping more songs like in the mix. Is that kind of how that came to be, or
So it kind of
instead of being like an album instead of an EP?
It kind of just ends up coming down to the appetite and the demand from our fans. They want albums. They expect albums from us.
Yeah.
And especially if you're making vinyls and putting out physical releases, you kind of have to package it up that way. But we're kind of on a different wave right now.
Yeah.
Like, you can always package up a single or an EP or whatever. Maybe we'll finally do like a heavy EP or something.
That'd be cool.
I know.
Northern Lights days type shit.
Yeah. I just found those songs a couple weeks ago. That was interesting.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was what, like 2016?
2015.
Damn.
That was my first time really getting in with Cameron Mizell too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I remember when we went up and worked with Cameron. That was an experience.
Yeah. We did The Day the Sun Died in a cabin in North Carolina, 50 miles from any civilization.
That was annoying when I went up at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. That was. But that song's a banger. There's some people that tell me that what crack did we put in that song because they love it so much. They listen to it over
What's
and over
funny
again.
about that song too is I pitched that to you for the second album.
I remember that.
Well, I pitched it
That's
to Greg.
crazy. Yeah, and I never got to hear it.
Yeah. That was funny.
That's freaking crazy. And yeah, I love that. So The Day the Sun Died, check it out. Me and Brandon wrote that.
Hell yeah.
It's a banger.
It is a banger.
Yeah.
Noise clip at the beginning is hilarious.
But that's what I mean. I can just partner up with just about any instrumentalist or producer, and we can.
I feel like your
probably come
voice
up with
stands out
something good.
enough too, and it like as long
Yeah.
as it's like a somewhat similar style, like instrumental, I feel like it just still sounds like Misfortune.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the voice just so iconic, like in that regard. Like
Yeah.
you can be like, oh shit, this is Mikey from
Yeah.
Misfortune.
And that's why, too, people have pressured me to rebrand for so long. You got to change the name. Why you stick with the same name? Why you do this? Why don't you just go solo? And it's because, dude, like, my voice is so synonymous with the band that even if
Yeah.
I joined Imarosa, let's say, they'd still be like, oh, it's the guy from Misfortune and Imarosa. Like, they would say it sounds like Misfortune because they associate that with me. And my voice, like you said, is stylistically, like, just very distinct. And so, yeah, it's just Misfortune, bro. That's it for me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I Ain't Afraid of No Ghostwriter. Banger. How was that?
It was cool. So that was the collab.
Video looks super sick.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we produced that ourselves in-house, as you know. Seth Munson, that was my collab with Seth Munson, who's like literally one of the best mixers in pop.
Seth is sick. He's so good.
Yeah, and I think that song rocks, and it didn't get the love it deserves.
Yeah, it's definitely a banger.
Yeah.
I can imagine just it being on like Octane Radio or some shit.
Yeah, dude. It's slept on for sure, but I also feel like our fans kind of didn't react well to like the alternative rock.
It
Misfortune.
is definitely a different vibe
Yeah.
from past releases.
I get it. You guys don't want to hear the Drake Misfortune anymore. It's fine.
The Drake Oh yeah, a lot of the vocal themes
Yeah.
are definitely like hip hop.
Little do they know, that's been the recurring thread for 14, 15 years now.
Yeah.
What else you got?
So Mikey, where's Misfortune heading? Like, what are plans like after Unscathed?
Yeah. So dropping more singles, more music video content, playing festivals, playing in Colorado.
Hell yeah.
We really want to play Red Rocks. I've never even been there for a show. I would love to play
I've seen
there.
a lot of videos. It just looks like a sick place to play.
We're going to be at Warped Tour in LA. So come
Hell
out,
yeah.
say what's up. We might like sign some CDs or something.
Hell yeah. That's
Yeah.
sick. I'm so stoked about like Warped Tour coming back. I wish it was like not just like 3 cities, like actual Warped Tour would be sick.
I want to see if people really stand on that shit
Yeah.
they've been saying at Warped Tour.
Yeah.
See you there.
You want to give
They
us
won't.
a little insight on that?
No, we're just going to pop out. Sometimes you got to pop out and show.
All right, Mike, you got any last words for people tuning in?
Man, just check out Unscathed. Pre-save it if you haven't already. Tune in for the music video. And love you guys so much.
Oh yeah, thank you guys for listening in. We're gonna be trying to do a few more of these in the future, kind of just see how it goes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.